All right, hey guys, good morning. Yesterday I was really worn out. I got my course, most of it done. I have one more section to do. And then when I was on Send Owl, there was some technical difficulty because I had already uploaded my like three or five free uploads. And I don't want to spend money on tech right now. So that's why I need to wait and do some more research. I need to look into e-commerce. So basically, I had a side hustle at McDonald's and I've decided to not take that. And the reason is because I'm going to be putting more into my social media. It takes time to learn, it takes time to do this. So I'm going to be putting more time into this. And I am now going into financial coaching on the side with this. So I'm going to work across the board. I have my faith to share. I'm sharing a special, on Sunday, God Talk with sermons on Sunday. I am doing marriage talk. I'll be talking about that again. I'm talking about mothering, about family. I have a heart for family. I've come from a broken family, and that's why I have such a heart for family. My home, homemaking, organizing, cleaning. I've been in the cleaning business for 5 years, so I know something about that. Um, Homeschooling I've done for about 30 years almost, so I know something about that. And now continuing my education in entrepreneurship. I had started a couple of my cleaning businesses, so I know something about that. So I am going around on all across the board, and exercise too has been something that's been in my life. I am 52 years old and I don't feel 52. I feel very good in my life. I just got this midsection I'm working on now to lose some weight, but I got these awesome jeans on that hide it pretty well. So I'm excited about that. Um, Anyways, what I'm going to be doing is talking about financial coaching because I know how money can destroy families. Money is something that if you don't have it, you don't have it, basically. And you have to be able to figure out how to get it or how to live very frugally. So for me, with money, as I've been doing family research, I've been talking about my family and all the tragedy that has happened in my family. And to add on to what I already said, like last night I was doing some more family research and I found on the news, which I had heard about this, but I actually confirmed it in a news article now. It was in 1997 after my third son was born. There was a shooting in Manchester, New Hampshire, and I always called him Mac. Mac was my grandmother's boyfriend, and in the news article, he's named Russell McDonald. So February 18th, 1997, he was shot. He was trying to enter a cab with his cigarette lit, and the law is you cannot do that. So I have no idea why he chose to do that. And he was shot twice in the chest, the article says, and in the groin twice. I think that was overkill. I don't know why a taxi driver would need to go that far, but the article did say he was reaching over for the steering wheel. So yeah, it does look like he deserved to be shot, if that is true. Also doing family history, my cousin Anthony Benoit in 2010 had overdosed on drugs. He was only 27. So that aunt I talked about yesterday, who was married 3 times, Tony Benoit had killed himself. And then she married an Oliver, and now she's married someone in the family, Fisher. So there is a lot of stuff. When you have a huge family, you can have, cousins, second cousins who marry each other. My grandparents had their marriage annulled, and all this chaos, okay? All this chaos. So the reason why I'm going toward financial coaching is because it's really about the principles that you have in place more than the money. I also had my aunt Patty Magoon. She's married, I think, 3 times now too. She had her child kidnapped. I was just a young girl. Her husband had run off to Florida with their kid. So I'm not saying this is like her fault, obviously, that her kid was kidnapped. But when we have made decisions to marry, 3 times, and my Uncle Bill had married twice, and then he was just with girlfriends. But when you choose to marry over and over and over, your finances are going to be affected. Or in another case, I guess I'm using situations to show, different scenarios in how we can improve our money situation. And it's not getting married 3 times. And then when my grandmother had 10 with my grandfather, some wondered, if some of them were his. Um, Basically, it's, I had my in-laws say, when we went through poverty and we had solutions in place. I went to the town, I got the help I needed. I mean, I obviously could work this whole time, but it's just I wanted to be home and I wanted to turn things around and give my kids the attention they wanted. But for grandparents to say, oh, why did you have so many kids? Why did you have so many? Why didn't you have less if you're having a hard time affording them? That's not the solution, okay? It's not the kid's fault, all right? You can manage money in a way that you can afford to have a lot of kids. It's the management that you need to look at. And when you are living on very little, it does not matter how much you penny pinch. It just doesn't matter. You need to up that job. You need to be motivated to find side hustles. So it is truly the man's responsibility to take care of his family. And women need their husbands. Okay, they need their husbands. If you're going to be married, there's something about men that we're living in a feminist age, so I'll probably get some hate for this. But there's something about men that give something to women that nothing else in life can give that to women. And the same for women, there's nothing else that a man can get something from than other than a woman. And men and women are equal before God. There's not a power battle. There's not one is better than the other. They're equal before God. They each are designed differently, and therefore that's why they are compatible. And I know that we're not living in a day and age of, understanding marriage at all, but men are able to give women a sense of security, commitment, love, and their role in the Bible talks about, loving your wives like Christ loved, the church, and being good to her so that you are cleansing her, you are helping her, you're helping her to grow, you're helping her to be good, you're helping her to be the best she can be. And in that day, when we do stand before Christ, we are going to be judged, not like condemnation judged, because God sees Christ in us, because Christ died for us. He took our place at the cross, and we are his children. But there is going to be a time of rewards and losses, and we want to be the best we can be. And men should be able to come alongside women and husbands and make them the best they can be. So when you have a husband who tears you down and emotionally and verbally abusive, that's not what you want. And the same with like my grandmother, who they had 10 kids, and my grandfather worked 3 jobs to put food on the table. Okay, that's not a good solution, because the kids needed their dad. And also, when she's spending money on alcohol to keep her sanity, that's also, alcohol is a huge money waster, huge. And it really tears you down as a woman. And the Bible talks about not being drunk. And so it's just a really awful, I'm not saying all alcohol, you can't handle some of it, but for me, I know I don't drink alcohol. I had a situation where I had gotten involved with some of my friends, and I had a buzz, and I regretted some actions I took after that. So alcohol is definitely something I stay away from. Personally convicted about that. You lose your senses, and it's not a good idea. I mean, I remember we were hanging out over in Dover, New Hampshire, and I was just, what, 19, 18, and we were having fun, and I was just like in my underwear and bra walking down the street at night, and we were having fun, and we were just doing some awful stuff. But anyways, alcohol did play a part, and I don't do that anymore. I haven't ever since then. You know, there was another time with my husband when we were at a party, and there was alcohol there, and I was sick in the bathroom, and I was just not myself. So no thanks. But anyways, what you want to do is you want to be able to make good decisions. And I'm going to be talking about financial coaching and how I've turned my life around totally from like this the young girl who had no direction in life, no idea where I was going, what I was doing, didn't care anymore. I had been hurt so much with boyfriends, not even seeking attention because it came to me very easily, but just trying to figure things out, trying to figure out, boyfriends, trying to figure out relationships, trying to figure out marriage when I didn't have a good example. So trying to figure it all out. And then once I had my firstborn son, I knew that I wanted better for him in life. And I totally, becoming a Christian, totally turned my life around. So anyone can do this. But when a woman is spending money on alcohol and she can't buy her kids a toothbrush, she can't buy them food, it doesn't matter how many jobs you work, you're not going to be able to get ahead when that's what's happening. So I think for my grandparents, it would have been much better for my grandfather to have not worked 3 jobs, to have stayed home, given the time, give the time he needed to his sons who needed direction. Because there were a few who, my Uncle Gary would do stupid things and throw tires into places that said you can't dump trash there. He would go to jail off and on repeatedly. And then I talked about my Uncle Steve with cocaine and just a rough life. I remember as a little girl, my Uncle Steve, punching his fist through the window. He was jealous of the attention that I got as a granddaughter. He was jealous of me. I remember my grandmother, I remember the door being shut when I was little because this jealous woman upstairs was ready to cut my grandmother's face because supposedly my grandmother was fooling around with her boyfriend or husband or whatever. So it's all this stuff, that this junk will bring you right down to poverty. And not only this, but on another side of my family, I'm not going to say her name, but that side of the family had dirt poverty. I mean, this woman made rugs in order to put food on the table. So, and then I know my grandmother in Deerfield made shoes. She actually sewed them together to make money. So, but my grandmother in Deerfield, what I did see was different about her, where she gardened and she produced and she was farming. She did have money. They did have money, but my father was brought up in poverty because they chose to be penny pinchers. And that is on the other side where you don't want to be like, I can't even afford, I'm going to save and pinch all my money so much that I will not even buy my kid a pair of shoes that fit. So you don't want to be that extreme. You want to be generous. God is very generous. He's very good. And that's what you want to be. We're told to give. We're told to be generous. So if you want to hoard all your money and then in the end you got all this money as they do, and you've got all this land as they do, and you just, even once I had asked if I could have a little help with a student loan I had taken out for hairdressing, and it was all wrapped up in like CDs, and no, there was no help. There was really on that side, nothing really given to me ever, and not much attention, not much, nothing. And I think this is why I personally gravitated toward my city folks, because there was so much given. And this is where you really need to look at the heart. Even though my grandmother screwed up big time with her kids, she truly did love me, and I got like fur coats and everything. And I had a lot of attention from her, a lot of love, and that love never dies. And we just watched a Christmas movie last night. And it's true, love never dies. And even though that side of the family had made a lot of mistakes and screwed up a lot, in their lives. Like I had Uncle Bill who truly loved me, and I do not know to this day where I would have been in my life without an uncle who, took me sledding, me and my brother sledding, took us to haunted houses, played soccer with us, played, he gave us, as a man in that time when I didn't have much attention from my dad, I did have a male role model who gave me plenty of attention. So, and then my Uncle Steve, who I was close to too, we would wrestle and they would throw us on the bed and we had Halloween parties and we played football together. And, so that was really hard for me when Steve went to jail for cocaine. But when a girl does have those, male role models, that's what's going to keep her more grounded. And I don't think if I didn't have that, who knows? I probably would have ended up, on the street or something. I don't know. But God always had His hand in my life, and money does influence your family life, and that's what I'm going to be talking about. And again, you're better off to go without money and to work on principles in your family than to just be hoarding money or wasting it and neglecting your family, working way too much, neglecting your family. You want to be able to live frugally and carefully, and through time, it's going to be time. That is how you build your money, not just getting out there and working all the time. So that's what I got for now. Okay, thanks for joining me, guys.